announcement. Hey y'all. Hey. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Happy March. Spring is near. Hopefully, we live in Wisconsin, so spring could be like 3 months away.
Spring.
Right. I'm happy to be here today. Today is right after a new moon, and I always get this
burst of energy.
Yeah, burst of energy. That was a burst of heartburn right there. I'm sitting up here eating these tacos. Drew, what's up?
I'm good. I'm feeling good today. I've been forgetting. I gotta always bring the helmet in.
Fam, is Mario really bald though?
Yeah,
for real.
He is?
For real, fam.
The
bald.
hat he was hat fishing.
What's funny is I like
Okay, there we go.
I like this helmet a lot because I normally like the costumes. The helmets come like with the hats and stuff glued together. So when the hat came off, I'm like, oh shit, like we got a real bald head. So yeah, it was dope. So I left the hat at home today so he can let his head breathe. Okay. So some of these costumes is unique.
Mario out here hat.
Yeah, you gotta bring us some of these costumes. But B isn't here with us today. He is handling some business that only a player could. So Drew and myself holding it down here at the studio. But today is a very special episode where we've had a number of guests and we allowed them to come and speak their truth and use our platform to do that. But I've been doing Speak Your Truth now for almost 3 years. And 2 of these years I've been with the TDR Pod Network family. And they have helped this podcast grow so much. So we have not taken the opportunity to interview the man behind the mission himself, Tone, Big Tone, aka Big Brother, aka no, I'm just playing.
Gotta give myself a round of applause.
Yes, please.
I don't do that too often. Yes, I do.
So Tone, let me finish your gracious introduction. But Tone, I met Tone. And he reached out to me and he was like, yeah, I got this network and I love what you're doing. And I was a guest on Real Bar Talk. So shout out to Tori, right. Casey and KT. And I was like, yeah, I got a podcast too. And then it was just history. We went through, added Drew, Brandon. But then this man really is the voice of the Black podcast scene here in the city. Like if a podcast is happening, 9 times out of 10, they are going through Tone, being produced through Tone. We've grown so much from Tone having to come to my house to record things, to going to the South Side, to now being here in a state-of-the-art studio. And I tell this man all the time, I'm so proud of you. I appreciate your mentorship and your vision. I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you take it over. Introduce yourself. Where you from? What you do? I mean, we know what you do, but like specifically.
You know what's funny? As much as I get on the mic, I really don't have a set intro.
Well,
I really don't.
We do be having like, it's your boy,
it was going to everybody. It's my name is Mr. Tone Deaf. I'm Mr. Tone Deaf, aka the Tone in Tone Deaf, aka one half of the most dangerous podcast of the Deaf Fresh Show. 1/4 of the voice of the voices on Hostly Awkward, the man behind the scenes. It is me, Mr. Antonio J. Luckett.
No he's been bars.
He was just trying to remember.
No, Drew get it. I was just trying to remember what I do. What all do I? The man of many hats, in so many words. But what do you want to know? What do you want to know?
So first and foremost, what a lot of people don't know is they don't know what TDR is, and they don't know what a pod network does. So before we get into kind of like the backstory, tell us all about TDR, which podcasts you have, how many podcasts you're currently managing. So tell us all about that.
All right. So if you haven't been rocking with us, you don't know that TDR actually stands for Tone Deaf Radio. We initially started off as 4 lonely shows on an internet radio station on Blog Talk Radio. I've been doing this collectively for about 10 years come April. Okay. That's part of the reason why we having the kickback we having. Been doing the whole thing for about 10 years. That's the Blog Talk Radio scene. Then migrated over to actually doing a serious podcast. But at the end of the day, I've always had a network concept to it. I've always been, yes, I can do my show, but I want to give somebody else the opportunity to do theirs too.
Okay.
Keeping it a buck, I technically started internet. I started this period off the back of depression. During the time when I officially started TDR, I had lost 2 jobs within a 1-month span.
Wow.
Shit was going weird in the family. The economic crisis had hit real hard, where homes were being foreclosed on left and right.
Yeah.
Unemployment rate was like fucking ridiculous. And I was in the middle of all that. Had just got married, so I wasn't even that deep into the marriage at the time. And everything was crumbling at one time. So here I am at the crib. I need a voice. Me and my brother Juan, aka one half of the Death Fresh show, we used to actually go to little local wrestling events. Just, we wanted to do that because that's what we was into. We was into wrestling anyway. And I just needed something to get my mind off that the world was like kind of fucked up.
Okay.
So while we were there, I had a digital camera. And me and Juan was running around fucking with people with this camera. And we labeled it the Death Fresh show. And that's literally how it all started. So after we sat down, was like, dog, it'd be funny. We just made this a real thing. So we were doing it every week. Then one day, Juan said, I'm a rapper and I want my music to be played when I want to play it. So he wanted to incorporate his music into the show. So I was like, shit, why not? I got tired of listening to the radio at the time anyway. We didn't have playlists and Apple Music and all this shit we got now back then. So it was like, well, fuck it. I'll just make a radio show to do that. So at that point in time, me and Juan had 2 shows. So I was like, well, let me talk to my homegirls. So I hit up my homegirl, Natasha Nafrini. She started a show. I hit up Dia because we love poetry. Gave her a show. Couldn't leave my wrestling fans out there. So I gave both WCC and WFSO a show. And birthed the TDR right there.
Yeah. Wow. Look at that.
And we've always had
you
shows.
Basically did what all great people do, is that you found some kind of gap and you created your own avenue, which is so dope.
Basically.
So, moving forward, kind of like bringing us into the present, how many shows do you currently have?
If we take the whole entire roster, so that's those who record in Milwaukee, our virtual team, and our syndicated team, meaning they record somewhere else, but we handle all the distribution. It's about 45 shows when you add all of those in there. Now,
wait, we got to stop right there. 45 Black voices, 45.
That's Jordan jersey when he came back.
Okay.
I was getting ready to say that. The one caveat to TDR is 50% of your show has to be melanated. It doesn't matter if you're Puerto Rican, Mexican,
we need a round of
Black.
applause to that.
50% of your show has to be melanated.
And tell us why that.
Well, because the Black voice needs to be heard. Period. I don't care what you're talking about. You could be talking about the terrible sex you had with your baby daddy. You could be talking about the struggle that's going on. You could be talking about financial literacy. Whatever you want to talk about, I want to give you the opportunity to have a voice, but you have to have substance behind your voice. Like, you can't be somebody who's like, me and my friends are funny in the basement. We should have a show. No. Because after about 5 episodes, you're not funny no more, bro.
Exactly.
You know? So you got to have a structure. You got to have a concept. If anybody's ever sat down and actually did an interview with me for a show, one of the first questions I asked them is, why do you want a podcast?
Yeah, you did ask me that.
See?
And I'm like, I've been doing this a year.
But then I asked you, why a podcast, though? You see what I'm saying? Like, there's many different ways you could do it. You could do a YouTube channel, but a YouTube channel doesn't have the same vibe as a podcast. You can go on Facebook Live every day. Doesn't have the same vibe as a podcast. So that's why I ask people. I ask the same question twice. Why do you want to start a podcast, and why do you want to start a podcast? You know, when you can do it so many different ways. But because of the pandemic, though, podcasting has completely evolved to begin with. Because before it used to be we record on audios, it would drop on a certain day, and people are at work or in their car listening to it. Now podcasts are becoming more visual. You know, we got time to sit down and watch what's going on screen. And you have your fans, your loyal fans will interact with you. Like, I have shows that'll be on, and from the minute that show go live to the minute it goes off, that comment section don't stop moving.
Yeah.
Then I have other shows who they get their comments after the episode is re-released, where it's completely done, and then here it is, 2:00 in the afternoon, and somebody baby mama girl, I agree with you. You know,
yeah, that was hard for me to like adjust to myself.
How so?
Is worrying about who watching it, and then it's like when I stop worrying about who's watching it, and I go back, it's more people that watch it after the fact than watch it when it happens. So I'm like, all right, let me just do what I do and then just get the feedback.
Like Kiana, Talk is Cheap podcast. Shout out to her. She records at 9:00 at night. Now she has her loyal followers who's been riding with her since day one. They're always there.
Right.
But that Thursday when the actual audio drops, she can go back to the live and she'll see that she's got 2 or 3 times as many views as she did the night that she recorded. She goes out of town and people are like, "Oh, I listened to your show." How the fuck you even know I got a show?
Right.
You know? So when I hear those stories from my team, let me back that up. When I hear stories like that from my family, because nobody's on TDR that's not treated like family.
Period.
I have close personal relationships with everybody. You can talk to me about anything, and believe me, we have sat down and talked about anything. You know, I have a very beautiful staff. That's one thing. Juan said I did that on purpose. I can't confirm or deny that, but I do. So I'm
assuming that's in reference to the women.
I don't know if dudes like to be called beautiful,
right?
But you know,
Okay.
So you got a lace liner.
I need a haircut, so I'm definitely not in that beautiful category.
We wouldn't mind being called beautiful if we was in a group with a lot of women and like, all right, the whole group
beautiful black,
and we didn't hurt the group,
right?
Like we got an okay group of staff. Like, damn, I'm okay, motherfucker.
It was like it was a beautiful melanated party. You know, I'm cool with. I'll take that. That. Beautiful.
So it's certain ways.
Like 12 niggas at a table. No, don't call it.
I got a beautiful basketball team. Like, all right, you talking about the score or the players? The players. You're like, nah.
What did you get? Puerto Rican rice?
It's Mexican.
Excuse me.
It's still good.
Sorry, wrong side of the Hispanic tree.
Well, I was
different countries.
I got a question. I want to say, like, because you do a lot of podcasts.
I do.
No, you do, and sometimes you sit in the back. Well, a lot. You sit in the back
and participate
and listen.
Look, I just started doing that. I didn't used to do that.
You never did that.
I used to sit. I don't do it on every show.
You would even be like Tony. You'd be like,
yeah, like I noticed he is sitting in the back, even for ours. So I know he do it for everybody else. Right. It's like, you ever sit back and hear somebody talking about a topic and you know they lying and you like,
it's not my show.
I get it, but it's like, for me, if I was in your position, I feel like I would be hurt because it's like, you got this podcast, people are listening to you for your opinion. And they want to hear some realness. They want to learn. They want to feel what you've been through and learn.
Right.
So I hate when people have these big topics and then they don't really tackle them and be truthful.
So this is the one thing. One of the things when I first made TR was I gave it a mission statement. I don't know why I gave it a mission statement, but I did. I don't know what the fuck a mission statement is for. So I made one anyway. So the thing about it is I tell everybody, no matter what, every show you do, you have to inform, entertain, and educate. Okay, you got to do one of those 3. If you don't do one of those 3, you had a shitty show. That's just how I've always thought about it. Sometimes people have to feel out what the topic is before they go through it. Like I use Kiana as another example. So tomorrow, for those who watching live, her episode will drop tomorrow. She did an episode about domestic violence. Okay, not everybody's ready to open up about that. You know, you don't want to go in depth to how much damage you took. Physically, mentally, emotionally, but it's a very important topic. So somebody might say, hey, I want to be on your show just so they can be around other people who went through, and they may give a little bit, they might not give you as much as you wanted out of them, but that may be what's needed to get the ball moving. Other times there's some people who they purposely lie to get the conversation moving.
Yeah, we know that. Yeah,
I'm notorious when me and Juan have conversation, we can both agree, like 100% agree. But I have to say, you know what, dog? I'm going to play devil's advocate. And I have to come up with all these reasons for the other side. Sometimes I hate doing that shit, but if we going to talk about this, you got to look at it from both angles.
That's why I like when people play that. You got to, because it's like if you don't do that, and you let somebody have a terrible show without being truthful, then they're gonna look at you.
Yeah, sometimes you got to.
Like, who gave you this opportunity to be on this show? And they're gonna go back and look at you.
And I've watched shows where people had guests who begged to be on the show, and the show was horrible. Like the guest was uninteractive. Yeah. They were just sitting there. They didn't want to say nothing.
You remember that one? I'm not gonna say when, but right. This was before I added y'all on.
Was it before or after the barbershop?
Before.
I know it is.
Yes. Okay. So then it's like people, I want to be on the show. And then it's like, okay, yeah. But then one thing that I did learn from Tone. So Tone isn't just, producer and managing all these shows. He's a mentor. So I definitely, whenever we take our breaks, we sit down, I have my notebook, we talk about shows, we talk about the direction, but I'll ask him, at first he'll kind of just like family, like he said, he'll let you fall. And I am hard headed. Like I hit my head, like a hard head make a soft ass a lot, and my ass is soft. Anyway, but I am hard headed, and he'd be like, well, I don't know if this person will be a good fit, or I don't think they're going to engage. And it's like, oh, they funny telling jokes, but they not good. Like a stand-up, I just happen to say comedy, but
none of that actually works because
some like Tiffany Haddish, she's goofy, but she's not good at stand-up.
I don't know. I liked her first one, but that's another story.
The first one is cool, but hell, I mean, if we gonna speak our truth, half of these Milwaukee comedians ain't funny. They just social media famous, but we ain't gonna get into that.
Ooh.
But
Tone like this is my night.
I'm sorry, we ain't gonna get into all of that. But I'm just trying to.
I know you. I know you're talking about.
I'm just saying, I'm trying to reiterate a point. So then we had the person or like groups of people that just was like, yeah, we could be on there. Let's be on that shit. And then when we get there, nothing. I'm like, okay, so what do you think? Is I don't know. I think what they think. And then we have to like try to dig content and re-edit and remove around because y'all swear that y'all was gonna be on and popping and hot, but then it's like, and then we didn't even have a visual, it was just mics. So I'm like, typically people are afraid of like being on camera, but it was just me and Tone with the mics, and then it was terrible.
Well, something funny is, believe it or not, when she decided to actually expand her show and add a co-host, she didn't know if she wanted to go with Brandon or Drew.
No, I didn't.
And I actually talked her into doing both.
Yep. He did. Dang, put me on the spot. Damn, what if Drew? If Drew was the one that wasn't supposed to be added?
I expect that though. I expect that because when you know who you are, then you understand that it's a business is what happens. So,
but and then so the point is like so. Tone is very great in that when I was looking to expand a co-host, he had to tell me to step outside of looking at my friends and be business minded. It's like you want your podcast to grow. So of course I had several friends on it. Like, yeah, I'll do it. But then it's like, okay, they're probably not going to be showing up. I wanted people to take this as serious as much as I did, if not more, where it's like, this is an opportunity. And it's like, you could be cut because I'm like, this, at the end of the day, it is my shit. You are a co-host and you do have a say so. However, I need you to be showing up on time. And this was way before COVID, like taking pictures, traveling, doing shows, and then all COVID killed all that shit.
COVID killed a lot.
It did.
But you know what? As much as we lost a lot of people and people lost their jobs, I could say this: TDR grew because of COVID.
Hell yeah.
TDR grew big than a motherfucker because of COVID. I think I added more teams during COVID. I think I just broke my fucking mic stand. But
do not go up on our dudes.
Nah,
is my mic even on now? Did you?
Your mic is on.
Okay.
Your mic been on. It was a camera that cut off.
I would say from my experience, like I definitely was not. I still don't.
Oh Lord! Oh my!
Yeah, I know. God. So let me get. I'm still not doing social media like skits and stuff how I should because it's in my lane. I should be doing it, but I'm not. I wasn't ready, and I'm getting there. But I would say Tone is definitely like a big reason why I am still on the podcast. They all say I still wear hoodies. I'm not fully where I want to be because. It's not easy. Some people just not built how some people are.
But
and some people would judge me and say, well, you funny. Just show your face and do this. It's like,
show your face.
They can't even do it. So like, I'm listening to people that can't even do it. They're telling me it's easy to do it.
No, you know what's crazy?
It's not easy.
You definitely, you have came out of whatever shell you had from the first time we could. Because I sat here the day when you were on Talk Is Cheap, when it was you and Brandon, you took that show over.
Yeah, you did.
And I don't mean in a way like this is my show now, but you showed a side of your personality that if I didn't already know you, I would have been like, that's the nigga I've been looking for. That's the nigga I want for this show. You did all that on your own. You did all that to the point that they want all of y'all back.
Yeah, she was cool. She was cool, and then she every time I felt like I was coming out and being me, she never like she was almost like, give me some more, nigga. I'm like, damn, I gotta get the most. But it's like I never had that experience because a lot of time when you get on social media, it's like I can say something real, and then people will look at the background instead of listening at the message. So I'm like, why the fuck I even get on? And say
that's
something?
Why you get a green screen.
Yeah, so I mean, but that's why I had to get used to what's going on. But to my point, what I was saying was, it's a lot of times I came to you and I was like, man, Tone, I really want to, be me, but I don't know how because my mind is fucked up thinking about it. And you're like, Drew, you got to just do this and do that, what you've been doing, and trust me. And I'm like, damn, I came in, I did. I'm like, okay, it worked. So like for somebody to see that, and I even told you, I was like, this is going to be my last show. I ain't going to do it no more. You're like, trust me, Drew, try this and you'll feel better. And I did it. And I'm like, it's like, I wouldn't have done it. You could have easily, you got 40 podcasts. You could even like, all right, I feel you. Leave. You could let me just walk away. But the fact that you did is like, nah.
Because for you to be a comedian, a stand-up comedian, and you a dude that people know, like I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. But you're technically, by definition, the first celebrity on TDR.
True.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
By definition, you might not look at
like
yourself
the Milwaukee
like that.
Celebrity.
Yeah, but because you know,
like I can't take even that made me nervous. Like
but
I'm not somebody that takes something and be like,
but that's
give me this for free.
You're
but that's
humble.
what makes Drew.
Yeah, exactly. Just
and
like Tone is humble. And not to interject, but I'm saying I rave about Tone all this. When I was telling my brother, like, yeah, you reach out to him, and I'm like, he gonna interview you and this and that, and I'm like, he's really great, wise and that, and then he be like, no, stop, no, I'm not. Like, you're just humble.
That's why I said that's why I could relate to you a lot, and I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Because
I will let the product do the talking for me.
Yeah, and you do. It's like, man, I can tell you something simple. I was like, look, Tone, when I walk in, I'm one of them that like to hear music and vibe out of it. And then you know what I'm saying, the music playing, I'm like, Tone, this is what I'm talking about. So, it's like, that's just me. And it's like, I don't know.
So BTS moment. So it was one weekend. It was one day y'all did an episode, and I didn't do the episode for y'all because I had a family thing. So Aziza was in here. Shout out to Aziza. So y'all came in, y'all did y'all show the whole 9 yards. Came back the next week. Soon as Drew walking, bro, where was you at, man? I was like, I didn't know what to do, dog. I felt like we were the substitute teacher. Like I want my music. The music wasn't here.
Yeah, because she was cool. She definitely was cool. She was valid. Like I even talked to her and told her, like, I'm just because we was sitting there and it was quiet, it was awkward. And I'm like, do I start a conversation? Do she? And then I'm like, I usually just let music be the vibe. A lot of people like that. Some people get out of they share
like
music.
It never dawned on me that I really do have a legitimate vibe. I have.
Yeah. And I'm one of the people that admit that. She did. She said, yeah, you're right. She went and look for something. I'm like, that's just how it is. It kills a bad vibe without it even being a bad vibe. It's just like going to a club and there's no music.
Right.
Like drinks is cheap, but it's no DJ. Like it still would never be the same.
Right. So one of the things I do here, like whenever a new show starts, I always have old school music playing. Because no matter what, there's gonna be a song that will probably come on that person will be like, this is my shit. I like that. And it allows them to open up. It's like, oh, what you know about, and you have that conversation, you get to know a person better. Right. And it helps break the mold. I always have candles burning. I ain't trying to set the mood because I want sexy time in the studio and no shit like that. I do it because a lot of candles are calming. So those nervous feelings of getting on the mic gets kind of lower because you have an aroma that's in your nose that brings down the vibes. Plus, I couldn't see doing nothing else but this anyway. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's how you know it's real, this man.
Like I tried to take a week off, and I was like, I still got shit to do.
I'll be trying to take a week off with the characters. Like when I say this the week I'm off, all of a sudden everybody want that day, and I'm like, damn, do I get mad or do I get the money? It's like
and it's crazy because I be at my regular job minding my business. This phone goes off more while I'm working from people asking pie related stuff.
I feel that because even at work today, I'm at work, and today was a busy day at work. As a matter of fact, when I pick up KJ, I still got to go home and do some more work. And one of the people that reports to me, she was like, "You got to take time for yourself." And I'm like, "Yeah, but sometimes shit just got to get done." And she didn't know that I wasn't talking about work, but it's my business. Like you don't stop. Even I'm going on vacation in 2 weeks.
Where you going?
Vacation. I'm going to Miami. But
all right, now don't get caught with a bag of brick. I've been watching Snowfall. So.
I'm saying, like, wait a minute.
I've been watching Snowfall.
Like, wait a minute.
I'm on my dope now.
Even on vacation, like I'm gonna be working, like taking pictures, having like you can't technically.
You know what? While we here, shout out to you because I really have been seeing your lipsticks everywhere.
For real?
Yeah, like real talk.
I need a round of applause. That's dope. Like, wow.
Because I've always liked the one that you got that looked like a little vial. It looked like something straight out of Harry Potter.
Oh yeah.
So every time I see that one, I know exactly where it comes from.
It's almost gone to. Yes, almost go. Oh, wait till you see what I got coming up. Like
I was in the bank today, making a couple of deposits, and chick, took out a lipstick. It was in that little thing. It's like, oh shit, I know who did it. Like I know who that is.
Kiana said I'm one of his worst headaches. I'm like,
you know what? Contrary to popular belief, the ones who I always say is my biggest headaches are the ones I honestly care the most about.
Kiana.
Mimi is a whole different ballpark because that's family. And okay, another story. I never would have made the jump from Blog Talk to what we're doing now if it wasn't for Mimi. So I gotta give her her flower, not a rose.
Yeah.
Right now. Because
not a rose.
Not a rose. Inside joke.
I'll use that. Hey.
All right. But the thing about it was Mimi is a perfectionist. So she wanted to make sure that her show sounded a certain way, looked a certain way. And when we were using the old setup that we used to, we recorded her very first episode. So if you go to the very first episode of Hopefully Awkward, audio wise, it's motherfucking trash. Okay. And it's not even nobody's fault. It was just what we were using to record at the time was not good. So she's like, if I'm gonna do this, we gonna do this right. And we had a nice little conversation. And I tell you what, $300 later, I went out, I bought a lot of cheap equipment for what it was. That's why I tell anybody, whoever wants to set up their own home studio, I will help you put it together, and you can do it for under $500. You can actually do it under $300 now, but that's a whole nother story. And we just literally was recording at Mimi's house. We was recording Death Fresh show and Mimi Hopefully Awkward. It was our family time.
Right.
Whole front room looked like somebody gutted a computer with cords and wires and everything all over the place. But that's what started. Honestly, that's what started TDR Network, because I started recording our stuff on a better sound than what we were using before. My virtual team was still using like conference rooms and stuff like that. So they were having a better sound, but it wasn't like ours. So Real Bar Talk came to us one day, was talking about, hey, Tom, we want to start a podcast. I was like, let's do this. And I was recording out of Tori's basement for a while.
Right.
That was technically my first real non-family show. Then Keeping It Cute, aka P3. They have a group. And I just happened to scroll through the timeline one day and I seen their group.
That sounds like a group. P3.
Yeah, pretty plus size and powerful. And they were having, literally, they were taking a Chromebook, no different than the one you see in front of Alicia, and was sitting it up, and all 5 of them would kind of cram into the view and have some dope ass conversations.
I remember that.
And I was like, you know what? Y'all got too much of a topic conversation that this inspiration needs to be shared. You should do a podcast. And I said it to them the first time, and then they brushed it off. That's like, we'll think about it. Because, this random dude that came out of nowhere. Okay. Said you need to do a podcast.
What that dude say?
I'm worse than them graphic designer dudes that pop up on timelines. So after a while, I guess they did a couple of more shows. It was like, you know what, Tone, let's meet. And that was actually, they were the reasons why I ended up in Sherman Phoenix for the very first time, because we had a meeting upstairs in Sherman Phoenix. And I'll let them tell that story. Yeah. Probably one of the goofiest moments that you would ever see. But when I tell you the charm, I turned on the charm. I turned on the motherfucking charm.
Period.
So they ended up coming on. They're probably one of the most important people in the growth of TDR.
Yeah.
Because they would do a show and they would have a guest, and the guest would, as soon as they get to, hey, I like this podcast conversation. Mm-hmm. Who do I talk to start my own? And it was like after that. So first it was El Renee, which ended up being Root to Fruit.
Yeah.
Then Joey came on, which ended up being Get You a Piece. And then Joey brung like Horizontal Refreshments and Bentley Said.
Network,
and then it's like it just kept growing and growing on top of that. And then my homie Denise, aka Lil Red, someone say anything about it, she own it. She'll tell you whatever you need to know. Denise, one day,
she's a connector for sure.
She's definitely a connector, and that's why she definitely is, officially on TDR. That's why anytime we do a TDR event that's just us, I always make sure she's there regardless.
Yeah,
because she's just as important as anybody. Funniest thing in the world. One of the newest podcasts that just did their first episode on Monday. That connection started from Denise. Now,
which one was that?
Wolfpack.
Okay.
They're not even on the wall yet.
Oh, okay.
They're that new. They're not on the wall yet. Amani had popped it on a Saturday and we chopped it up for a minute. So I was like, okay, cool. She went out kicking it with Denise that night. I didn't think twice about the conversation because I'm like, if you serious, you gonna come back. She must have said something to Denise while Denise was drunk in the middle. That's my guy. Picked up the phone, called me right in there. Here I am in my iPad reading the book to my baby, and my iPad started ringing from her. And I'm like, "What do you want?"
What do you want?
She's like, you talk to my friend, and you ain't put a who are you? Here, and you just handed her the phone. It's like, well, I didn't mean. Like, oh my god, like duh. So she definitely makes sure. She's definitely very, very influential in the growth of TDR. Actually, like I'll tell everybody hands down, even though I'm the figurehead, this is not all me. Like if I lose people, I lose key intricate parts of TDR, regardless. I tell Aziza all the time, when she moved to Atlanta, even though that move was the greatest thing to happen to her, it was a major blow for me here at TDR.
Hell yeah.
Here in the Milwaukee area. Now down there, keep a lookout. That's all I gotta say on that. But I need all of y'all, hands down.
So I want to know now. So we have a lot of people that's been added to the Wall of Fame. For real, I want to know what disqualifies someone. Like, so if someone comes to you and say, "Hey, Tone, I got this podcast idea." Like, how soon do you know if you're gonna take them on or be like, "Nah"?
After the third question.
Really? Okay.
Usually after the third question. Because like I said, the first question tells me why you want to start a podcast. So if you one of them, like I said before, me and my guys think we funny, that's going to tell me right now, you're not going to last past 8 episodes. Okay. So I'll entertain you, but how serious you are about getting this together is going to make the big deal.
Yeah.
The second question is why a podcast? Because now you have to think, why am I choosing to do a podcast? Maybe I don't really want to do a podcast. Maybe I want to do a YouTube channel. Maybe I'm okay with just talking on Facebook. Maybe I really just want to do a podcast because you make it look cool, And the third question is what's your goal for this? Like, what is the purpose of your podcast and where do you plan on taking it? I've had some people that came in with brilliant ideas, and after we recorded the first time, their intention was completely different. That's why they're not on the wall. Some people haven't made it past 5 episodes. Some people didn't never get a chance to record their very first episode.
Really?
Because after having more conversation towards building the show, I came to realize you kind of just doing what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
You think you're doing it because it's a fad. I can tell you this right now, 97% of people who podcast don't do it for a fad. They do it for the love. They have a secondary goal, and podcasting is just the platform to get it started. Like if you came to me and told me, well, I do Speak Your Truth because of this, but my end goal is I want to launch a business and I want to use this to get there, I'd have been cool because now I know what your goal is. So you're going to do your shows, but let's figure out how we can tie your future business into your show. Yeah. That way now we know how to make it get to your goal. Or like Chanel, I love Chanel had already started doing the naked eye.
Right.
I give you credit because you the reason why I even got to Chanel to begin with. So, but I love the fact that her message of her thing, it was about self-awareness, and all her episodes are about internal reflection. Even right now, me and her is working on her doing diary entries in regards to her shows.
Nice.
So instead of her honestly dropping an episode every week, because she got that wedding she planning.
Yes, an animated one.
Right, you are. She got small little things about self-awareness, growth, mental health that she can do. So she'll drop a small little diary. We call it diary entries about her week.
See, and that's another thing too, where it's not just you're locked in to like your show and that's it. So even now, so sometimes Tone, if he sees like greatness in you or like another potential avenue for you, like I have a spinoff show that I have not been on because I've been busy, but
that's the good reason why you can't do it, because now you gotta talk about it.
Yes, and I'm like, but now I have more content. So the spinoff show, This Is 30, I still have Speak Your Truth, and I come on here and I speak my truth and I talk my shit. But aside from Brandon and Drew, I have my own experiences, just kind of like evolving and all of that. So like he will come to you and be like, hey, I think this will be good for you. You should do this. And it's like, whenever he comes to you with advice, listen, because for real, just listen. It's like, because at first I'm like, I don't know, and I don't want to do that's extra work and all of that. But
I'm something like a Barbara Walters.
I'm just right. So I'm like, it definitely will grow. But I want to get into and it's not just Black voices. You're inclusive of all voices. So I would say you are the first, and to my knowledge, first and only network that encompasses an LGBTQ plus represented show.
I have several shows
that
have
in the city or
yeah.
Okay, see,
I'm not gonna take credit for the whole podcast. Okay, I was gonna say, I'm like, there's a whole category for them. But
I mean, yes, there's a whole category, but I'm like, but under your network,
under my network in the city of
Milwaukee,
you're
not discriminating.
Most LBGT pods of color are under our umbrella.
Period. And that's what I was getting.
Shows like Horizontal Refreshments, Spill the Tea, Get You a Piece. At one point in time when KT was part of Real Bar Talk, KT, I have other women who claim they're bi, but you gotta prove it. But I didn't want to throw nobody out there. But I do. I have a nice, huge LBGT community here on the network. And the crazy thing about it is I don't treat them no differently.
As you should.
I sit here in their conversations and I be listening just like anybody else. Mm-hmm. Horizontal Refreshment is probably the wildest podcast you can ever hear. We have 2 gay dudes and a married woman on there. And those topics are wild as fuck. Like this week's episode is about masturbation.
I'm gonna have to listen.
You should already know how to do that. You're a grown ass woman.
I mean, I do.
But it's the fact I will sit here and I hear these. And even I go back to Joey on Get You a Piece. Joey actually, it has been a great platform for the LGBT community because he has like all his guests, like every guest, well, most of his guests, because I remember he did a MUA episode. And they wasn't gay. He brings people of his culture on there, and no matter what walks of life and what's going on in their life, he's had a couple of transgenders on there, and they give me the opportunity to ask questions or get involved in the conversation at times, just simply because I want to know. And I don't want to come off as being disrespectful because let's be honest, as Black men, we are the most homophobic people in the world. Okay. Everything is gay to us. Every moment is plausible. Everything, you can't eat bananas in public because you're gay. Like dumb shit like that. Like, who gives a fuck if I want a banana? I'm gonna eat a goddamn banana. Okay. What am I supposed to do? Eat it from the middle? What the hell? But that's a whole other topic. But they've allowed me to ask those questions, and I say it too, and not to be the same. So, as a straight heterosexual male in America, I want to know. I have done that, and Larry, which he's always on Joey's show as a guest, has literally answered anything and everything I've always wanted. He has gotten me together on topics. He's helped me see things from their perspective, and like, I couldn't do that. I would never be able to do that if I didn't have the network that I had to be able to interact with these people. And even then, I have people that come to me. The other day when Joey was doing the show, and he had a couple of his people. I'm outside in the hallway. I'm working on some stuff, and one of his friends came down. They were pitching an idea of a podcast. So I'm like, okay, let me listen to see what your idea is. Let me see, are you trying to do this on your own? Are you trying to bring it to the network? Mm-hmm. And just the simple fact, I'm sitting here having a conversation with this person, and I'm helping him build his ideas and better. Now, taking consideration, he's not even on the network yet. He hasn't even have a show together yet. But the fact that I helped him get from a thought to an action plan meant the world to him.
Some people need that.
He was like, I understand you're a busy man. I see you got a lot going on, but I just want to thank you for taking this time to just, at least entertain me and listen. And I'm like, it's not a problem. Like, it's no big deal. You can come to me. Anybody can come to me with ideas, and I help you break it down. There's podcasters that are not even on our network. They're on somebody else's network that will come in and say, hey, Tone, I got a question, man. How do you do this? And I'll be like, here, this is how you do it. This is the idea. Just go here. Let's do this. I don't give a damn because I'm not in competition with nobody.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm not like the crazy part about it is all the Black Pod networks here. We're all cool.
Right.
From the producers to the owners down to the host, there's no show who thinks they're better than anybody else. Now you may be a little bit more popular than everybody else when it comes to how you represent the city, but at the end of the day, ain't nobody in competition.
I mean, it's across the board. Comedy, cosmetics. I mean, it's the same across the board. Where it's like if you are staying in your lane and really doing your passion, there is no competition.
Right.
You doing your passion.
And that's another thing I like about the network. We do all work together like a family. Like we'll go to each other in a heartbeat for not just like being a guest on somebody else's show, but let's say I'm doing a project and I need models. I got so many on the network, I don't even have to ask anybody outside to do it. And I'm not talking like, you've taken a couple of photos. No, I'm talking like you've gone down the runway.
Denise.
You got skills, like Kirsten, Denise, Aziza, Ruthia. Yeah, we got them. So I don't need that. Then I have fashion designers. Yeah. That's another thing. If I made sure that all my shows, there's another side hustle on the side. Nobody on this show is really just doing the show.
Right.
There's another avenue out there. We got Wind Down Wednesday where Cree is a fashion designer. We got Drew as a comedian. We got you doing makeup. You know what I'm saying? Mimi has her whole entire store that she got going on. We had the whole P3 brand going on. Aziza does waist beads. Like everybody has something that they're doing outside of just podcasting.
Yeah.
And a lot of them started it during their podcasting journey.
True.
Like it wasn't like the podcast made them do it. It was like while they were doing it, they came across somebody who gave them an idea, who then they took that idea and went one step further. So then I'm like, if you were not doing the podcast, would you have ever came up with this idea? Well, look at you in makeup. Do you think you would ever gotten to that point?
I don't know. To be honest, I would love to sit up here and be like, oh, yeah. But I'm like, I don't know, because the podcast was something brand new for me. Like it was something I never thought I would do. So just taking that risk and then I'm probably not.
Right. Just because you took a risk doing the show, not caring who was going to listen or if anybody gave a damn. And since you've already said, what, I fucking started a podcast, I can start a business over here.
Yeah.
Let me do my research, of course. But what I need to be scared of. I already am organized when it comes to doing my shows every week. Just take that same organizational skill and let's put it towards starting this business.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, hey, I need an account manager. Put it on your page. Denise gonna give you a whole list of people anyway.
I'm like, I found somebody to make our logo because of her.
Oh, Rudy, yeah. Shout out to Rudy. Shout out. That's my famous friend.
I'm like, we definitely gonna update. I'm like, my head's still big, and I lost
your head big
weight.
In real life, though, fam.
Anyway, well, that's because Drew didn't take his hood off. So.
Drew got the biggest head on the crew.
Drew ain't gonna take his head off. He's sweating right now.
No, I'm good now. To cool down now. The liquor went down now.
Your head is hot. So before we shift gears to this talk your shit segment, you covered a couple of things and you dropped a few gems, but if there are people out there, our listeners out there right now, that's like, okay, I think I could come into the Shark Tank and I want to pitch my idea. what do they need to know? Like, what's one thing that they need to know before stepping to you?
One thing they need to know before they want to step to me about doing a podcast,
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you know that you don't make money off of podcasting.
Yes.
That's the number one. The real fucking shit. I need people to understand that. Can you make money?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
We get
but just like anybody who talks to me, I always pitch that podcasting is like the music business.
Mm-hmm.
You are an artist when you start a podcast. Every time you drop an episode, it's like dropping a song. But just like any artist, you don't make your money off the song. You make your money off of the tours, off of the shows, off the premieres.
Yeah.
In the podcasting world, it's the sponsorships, it's the advertisements, it's the hosting events. You make your money off the fact that you have a podcast.
Yep.
You make your money off of the connections you make during the podcast. So if you ever plan on coming into the podcast world because you're trying to make money or you're trying to get famous, bro, just save your time.
That's real.
Just go be a video game streamer. You got a better chance over there.
That's real shit. So we gonna first and foremost thank you for your time. Look, we ain't gonna see you next week.
I wasn't gonna be here anyway if it was a regular show. The hell, you have the time between 7 and 8:30. So
anyway. But we have a lot of fun stuff coming ahead, and I just really can't wait to see where we're gonna go. Like when all this COVID shit is over. Speaking of which, I do get my first COVID vaccination tomorrow.
Are you getting the single shot or the double?
The single.
All right.
Just to say what?
I just said all right.
I get the other one next
because the single one is new. Like that's new.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, just the one shot only. That's the newest one.
But it's like comes in doses of 2.
No. There's 2 of them. There's 2 different companies that require you to get 2 separate shots.
Right.
There's a third company that you only have to get 1 shot.
Oh no, I got to get 2 different ones. Whew, I'm like, don't scare me. But we gonna transition to the Talk Your Shit segment, y'all. Right? It's probably not even gonna sound like a lot of claps. Like we missed a set of hands.
Use my own.
Okay. Right.
Nah.
1, 2, 3. Talk your shit. So I'll start first. My Talk Your Shit is I don't even have no shit to talk. I'm grateful. I made it to my goal weight. I was weighing at 165.6, and I was so busy that I did not get the chance to stop and celebrate. I'm like, damn, I went to the doctor, and I'm like, damn, 165. Like, I met my goal weight. I didn't even know. That's how busy I was. So my shit this week is for all business owners, stop and take a breath when you can. Slow down. I had to tell myself that, and Chanel just told me this, like you can't do everything right now because I want to do this for my business and that for my business, and I wanted to do it like right now. But I'm learning that it's not a marathon, it's a marathon, it's not a race. So business owners, single moms, anyone who is just juggling a lot in general, stop, take a breath. Celebrate things that you're doing. I made it to my goal weight, y'all. Like, so I'm finna be fine as hell in Miami. So that's my shit. Look, I'm looking like a crumb bum now, but you know what I look like when I get dressed.
Look, he liked you when you was chunky. He gonna like you as is, so it don't matter.
I know I was a little chunky.
That's crazy how women be like, you gonna see me when I'm dressed. They're like, we gotta be who we are now.
Right.
Like, nigga,
I mean, that's
you
y'all.
know you didn't look bad when you were bigger.
I didn't, and that's what people was saying.
I think you probably felt felt bigger.
Like, we can throw on braids.
I didn't feel good, and it's like, yes, I know I would look good at any size, but like to me, I didn't feel confident with my. I took pictures, and I'm like, dang, my cheeks this, and I just didn't feel like myself. I'm getting, like winded upstairs and stuff, and I'm like, dang, I'm only 29. Like, why am I this out of shape? But it wasn't just the food I was putting into my body, it was being around people dragging me down. It was the stuff that I watched, stuff that I listened to. So now I've completely changed not only my food diet, but the people I allow around me and my space. So like, it's my whole everything has changed, and I feel shifted. And I feel lighter. Definitely feel lighter. So that's my talk. My shit this week is your diet is definitely more than what you eat. It's everything that you are taking into your system, into your body. So that's my shit.
That's what's up.
Yeah. Who going next?
I go.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Talk your shit.
Well, I'm gonna give a shout out to the Milwaukee Vibe last night. New Me and Cortez, they hosted an event with They had a live band. They did some poetry and some singers and rappers and stuff like that. And I went to show love. I don't want to be one of them entertainers, comedians, whatever, and just only go out when I'm booked. I always show love to people that, show love to me when I can. So I did that. I paid, and I felt good about paying. And I'm like, I don't want to. I didn't even want to show her my face because I felt like she probably would have thought I wanted to get in the show. I'm like, no, I came to support and chill. I got a couple of drinks, sat back, ate some chicken, and then I seen her, and then boom, she just left me. And next thing you know, she just called me on stage. So, no, she didn't let me know. She didn't warn me. She didn't tell the DJ I had no song. It was like, oh, my friend Drew popped up, y'all. Give a shout out Unpredictable Drew, and then come on, bless the mic. Boom. So, everybody looking at me. So I went up, but I'm like, damn, this what I do. So I went up there, and man, that saved me this month. Like this month, I really want to tackle this month like strongly now. Like I feel confident, motivated. Like I needed that. Like I got up there and talked about shit that bothered me that day and turned into a joke, and it flew out perfect. And it was fire. I'm like, oh, this shit sounds so good. I should have got paid. They started throwing money on the stage. When I tell you all the money I got back from spending it that night and came back times 3 or 4, I'm like, oh shit, So I'm blessed, man. And I realized like I got to stay hungry like that. I got too complacent. So,
but that's also that positive energy, though.
Yeah, it was definitely. It was a vibe. I walked in like, damn, Tom. I'm like, it's a nice crowd. I wish it was a crowd when I do. It was a nice crowd. They wasn't talking to people like performances. It was nice. It was packed. I'm like, damn, if I would have been on this show, I'd do this and that. But then when they actually called me up, that went out the window. But I just freestyled, and like I said, it was fun. It felt good, and just basically thank you to everybody that was there last night. Thank you everybody that threw tips and just laughed, and it was a vibe. And I'm going back next Tuesday to be at Oasis, so this time I will be prepared. I guess that's more authentic. Like that felt good to not be prepared and to kill it. And it is more pressure. Now they're like, you really ready to be funny. Yeah. So
see, but now that gives you confidence to open up and try
Hopefully
new things.
You ain't set the bar too high.
Try different things.
I did because it was like, it was, but I mean, I like that too, though. I love a challenge, but I didn't know that type of challenge. But
I think you'll get back there because honestly, if the energy was already good, that tone is already set.
Right.
So I think you'll do just
fine. So thank
you,
know me and Cortez and everybody, man. Always establishment, everybody. It was a dope vibe. It wasn't nobody like, oh, he came and took the show. It wasn't nothing like that. It was I gotta take
a Tuesday off and go check it out.
Yeah, it's dope. It's
I gotta get a babysitter.
Man, that live band is a fool. They should have gave them my tips.
Was it cigarette break?
Cigarette break. It wasn't, but
they was playing somewhere this weekend.
I'm like Wavy Gang or
what's the name of the group, the band? Because she on here now. But yeah, they was dope. And I don't want to give nobody else their credit, but they was dope. And I mean, they didn't stop playing.
And I love live bands.
So yeah, live band, that shit.
I love live bands that can play anything.
So
that's what I like.
Thank you. That's my shit. I felt good. If I would have bombed, I would have told everybody because you don't always kill shows. Don't think. Nah. I hate when comedians say, I'll kill. I never said that if I did.
Nah.
Like I said,
I've watched episodes of Dion Cole doing his stand up, his
testers, we had some bad shows,
and he literally it was a bad show.
It might be a mind.
Even Richard Pryor had a bad show.
You might try a new joke and it just don't work. You know what I'm saying?
That's the whole reason why you try.
Richard Pryor came back and talked about how he had a bad show and he delivered a funny one.
3 types of smoke. That's what that's the band.
Okay.
Yeah,
might have to book them one day.
Yeah, they was cigarette.
Got an idea for them.
No, it's bad. No, they was dope, though. They was dope.
When I start my late night talk show, I have them as my band.
See, I wanted to do a late night talk show. We should talk.
All right, so
we should talk.
We gonna. It was one lady came up to me and said, "Here," she gave me $20. She said that joke that you said about your drink being a lesbian drink. She said that was hilarious because I'm a lesbian. So I got $20 just for thinking of that creatively. I never thought about saying my drink was a lesbian drink because it had a little cherry at the bottom and shit and it was pink. But shit, the lady made me a drink and she wanted me to try. But that right there, I got $20 off. I got a free drink off being creative. So
being yourself,
I hope that help a lot of comedians understand.
That's basically what we've been trying to tell you, Drew.
Try this shit.
Right.
We just been wanting you to be yourself.
Yeah, and she did. Like
and I said, she went up and make us all
she didn't tell me shit. She didn't say Drew up and she was walked off. I ignored her. She walked off. And then
you on stage.
Yeah,
it'd be like that sometimes.
I need it though.
I've been dragged on shows I wasn't supposed to be on.
I haven't.
So I got because you always got to get a babysitter.
No one wants me.
Well,
that's
I just
dead
told
ass though. Babysitter.
I just told you. Kiana wants y'all on her show.
Well, let us look. I'll arrange ahead of time.
She wants y'all this Tuesday.
Okay. I'll arrange ahead of time.
All three of y'all. All three of them.
Do that. We can do that too.
All three of them.
Ready?
I don't remember what she talking about though.
1, 2, 3. Talk your shit.
All right. So first of all, I want to give a shout out to Alicia for even considering doing this. As much as I do talk behind the mic, it's actually an ongoing joke on the network where I can't record a show without saying something.
Okay.
But I'm cool with that because the days when I actually don't do it, my team gets worried about me. So I love the energy. Shout out to everybody on the network, past, present, and future. I can't do this without y'all, regardless, and I wouldn't want to do it without none of y'all. As for TDR, when I say future, podcasting ain't the only thing you're gonna see from us.
Ooh.
See, I'm the kind of person I don't give a fuck. I'll tell everybody what I'm gonna do.
Start a fight and say like, "Ooh."
I be doing that too. I be like, "Ooh,"
and walk right away. Like, what happened? Like, they started fighting because of me. They petty.
Let me know I gotta say something back.
No accountability.
TDR podcast is not going to be the only thing we did. I said to myself that from my 10th year, I was going to get back to the root, which is the R in TDR is radio. So I am currently behind the scenes working on an all podcast first, music second radio station where your favorite podcast will always have a set block that will be played. So you can always follow whoever you are. And it doesn't even have to be a TDR podcast. It can be whoever. Only requirement is you got to be from the city of Milwaukee. That's it. And then, of course, we have so many podcasts here in the city of Milwaukee that we deserve our flowers. So it was supposed to be this year, but COVID has kind of stopped it. But next year, I'm going to actually be doing the first annual Urban Podcast Awards. Because I want everybody to be proud of what they're doing. I don't want folks who's been doing this for a year, 2 years, 3 years to feel like, what am I doing this for? You know, I want there to be an award you can strive for. I want there to be something that you can sit on your mantle at home and be like, dog, the city thinks I'm the best podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, just think about that. As a comedian, like, if someone said, you know, this year's recipient is Unpredictable Drew, you gonna feel a certain way, you know.
After I worry about how they feel about it, I'm gonna sit back like, well, I did win though,
right? You know, like, and the crazy part about it is just like the comedian world here in the city, the podcasting world, whoever wins that world, everybody's gonna show them love. You know, B. Jones, whenever he's on all the shows he comes on, he always brings up the day when Brandon is fucking here.
Yeah, he been moving around now. That's why I told him, I said, who show you on tonight?
Right, like, Brandon is fucking here.
That is.
He's always check out the last few episodes of Wind Down Wednesday.
Okay.
And he was like, when Aaron won the awards, all of y'all went up there.
Yeah, I just posted about that again. Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, that's kind of how I want our podcast awards to be. Even though this particular podcast may win the award, I want everybody in that category to be just as geeked about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if we wait for, you know, like iHeartRadio or the other people to create one and then include us in it, it's not going to happen.
Right.
So I was like, fuck it, let's just create it ourselves. You know, and who's better to do it than me? Not even trying to be cocky, but
no, you got
who's better to do it? Who would you trust that's gonna be honest? Like, you got 50 fucking podcasts, of course.
Yeah, YouTube interviews, you know.
Right. And then I'm cool with all the other ones. So it's not like I'll be biased. I mean,
yeah, they can do their own vote and only tell you.
Right, and that's how I get everybody votes. I
want to their top three without voting themselves.
Right,
the truth.
That's gonna be the goal for.
And you gonna do it?
I'm gonna do. Of course, I'm gonna do it.
That's what I'm talking about. And then, so we pretty much closed the show on a positive note, but I am proud to be part, you know, of this network. We're growing. We're going to keep growing. We're going to keep getting bigger and even better. That's our show for this week. We will catch y'all next week, Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. We do it every week, y'all. Season 5. Stay tapped in.
Bye.